The balance of power must be preserved. Your magic is powerless against me. Justice will be served.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Kassadin today, also known as the God of Late Game. His passive makes him take reduced magic damage, and then he's also permanently ghosted. His Q is a single target damaging ability, and when you hit people then you also get a shield. And this ability also interrupts channeling abilities, so if you see like a Malta or something ulting and then you press Q on him, then it is going to cancel it out. The same thing goes for Katarina's ultimate. So this is what you use to farm with level 1, especially if you play against a ranged matchup, then you just stay back and then you just last hit with his Q ability if you are not able to walk up. Your W is basically an empowered auto attack that also resets your auto attack timer, so you can like get damage off really fast if you auto attack normally first and then you immediately press W afterwards. It also gives you some mana back, and then you have that E, which is going to charge up every single time people are using abilities, and then at the maximum amount of stacks then you deal damage in a cone in front of you and also slowing people. So because of Kassa's passive and his Q also giving him a magic shield, this is a champ that you pick into those mages. He's like the anti-mage champ. He does well into every single AP champ in the game. So it's like known as a counter pick to those champs, and that's why you want to pick him. He suffers a lot against AD assassins because his early game is very weak. So your only goal is to like stay back and then just farm, but if you're in matchups where you can play aggressive, like the Katarina lane here, then you can play him with Ignite, but otherwise, in a difficult matchup, you definitely want to go for Teleport. We're using him with Electrocute, that is his best keystone so far, and you can get the damage off really fast, because as I said early on, if you use that W as an auto attack reset, then you can also proc that Electrocute almost instantly. So just stay back, focus on last hitting. And if you're in a winning matchup, like we are right here, this Katarina does start with an extra item because they got like a kill from the level 1 fight. So she is at a advantage, but if you can like win the matchup normally, because you have a ferret lane, then you can play a bit more aggressive. Just stay back. You almost never want to push in the wave before level 6 because you don't have any mobility. So people will normally start to gank you a lot. That's why you have to be really careful with your wave management. Try to play as much as possible at your side of the lane. That Q, guys, don't just endlessly spam it. You really want to make sure that you abuse that shield that you're getting from it. So like when you're about to receive damage from a magic damage from a champion, then you can use it. Because then it is going to deny some of that damage, so you don't get nuked as hard, because Kassadin is really weak early game. Right now we are of course playing with Ignite, because I'm pretty confident on the champion. So I know his limits, but if you're new to the champion, then I highly recommend you go with Teleport. Because we need that tier. Kassadin is a champion that uses up a lot of mana. Also his ultimate also scales full mana, so really want to make sure we have enough of that, because that's how we can like go for those fights, extended fights as well. So it's one of the most important stats on Kassadin. We just need one more level and then we're gonna hit level 6. This is what Kassadin is known for. His early game is weak, guys, but as soon as you get to the late game, you don't even need level 16 like a lot of people are saying. Of course level 16 is like an auto win, but when you hit like level 11, that's also where he becomes really strong. But the normal idea, or the idea on Kassadin, is that you farm for the late game. It is a late game champion. He's going to destroy almost every single champ in the game once you get your items and once you get level 16. So that's the point that you play for when you play Kassadin. Also that Emax is really good against those assassins, champions like the Yasuo Yone, because they will be using the abilities a lot, so you can get this ability charged up really fast. Now we got that ultimate up, so it's a blink. It has short range, but you can use it to blink over walls with. And it can like stack up. And when you stack it up, then it's going to deal more damage, but it's also going to consume a lot more mana. You have to be very careful, especially in the early game, because if you use it too many times, then you're gonna run out of mana really fast. This is the ultimate flash you can do to like catch people off guard. Impossible to react to, unless they like know that it's coming in advance. We're gonna go for the crown, of course. That is one of the reasons that Kassadin is even better this season. He's actually the best mid laner right now, the strongest of them, because he got like a massive buff. Not directly, but through the items and also through the objective bounties, making it much harder for people to end the game, so that gives him more time to scale up. So you can use your ultimate twice when you go back from base to lane, but you don't want to use it any more than that, because otherwise it's going to consume too much mana. Use your ultimate to wave clear, and then you also have that E that's going to deal a lot more damage later on as you get more points into it. So like in these matchups, like I said earlier on, your Q ability does cancel channeling abilities. So for example, Kassadin's ultimate, so you really want to save it for that if you're even, like if you know that you both are gonna go all in, then you want to save your Q for those important channeling abilities. Kassadin becomes really hard to gank as soon as he has his ultimate up. It does have a decently high cooldown level 1 guys, but that's going to be very low later on. We have ultimate hunter and people think that Kassadin does not need it, but the reason that every single high elo player is using ultimate hunter on Kassadin is because those split seconds are really gonna make a difference. And that's something you start realizing when you play this champ a lot, because your ultimate does come up a lot faster, and that can really make a big difference in those fights. But the Electrocute Ignite playstyle is a very aggressive playstyle that you can do when you're confident on the champion, but if you're not, then you can also just play him with Teleport. That's something you want to do whenever you're in a bad lane, because then you have like that extra safety tool, but then also in the later stages of the game, you can also go split pushing. We're gonna max out the Q second here, guys. So when your electrocute is up, of course you can go for like a quick burst combo, and this like to help Kassadin, you know, go for those early trades, because you can really look for those kills even though he's a late game skilling champion. Because if you're able to find those kills early on, then you're gonna skill up a lot faster, and you know what happens when Kassadin hits level 16, it is game over. He's gonna destroy absolutely every single champ in the game. Just recall here, we got the kill, and we don't want to overextend, so we're gonna go for crown, really OP item. This is part of the reason why he's even stronger right now. He was already S tier the entire last season. And then this season he's even better, because like he got this item, and also the objective bounties, making it much harder for people to end the game, as I said. So like Kassadin is like one of the best champs that you can pick up for the mid lane. Of course, even if you're in a bad matchup, then you can also build those tank items. I think it was called the Fimble Winter or something. That's the item that you can get instead of Archangels if you're playing against like heavy burst matchups, because that does make you a lot tankier and harder to burst down as well. So the flash is down on the Kassadin. Very difficult to trade with the Kassadin if they're playing an AP champion into you. So that's why he becomes really strong. You have to abuse that, especially if you manage to get a lead somehow in the early game. You are mainly looking for that 2 item power spike, so as soon as you finish the mythic item and you have the Archangels and then have it transformed, that's sort of where you come online. And then you also want the Sonya's Hourglass, because Kassadin is a short range champ that is always in melee range whenever he has to like damage people. So Sonya's Hourglass is also another core item, But as soon as you have these items, that's why you start carrying. That's why it becomes really difficult to counterplay you as well. So now we're gonna get the crown. On the base here, we have more than enough gold. This item is also pretty cheap, making it even better. And then the Archangels, of course, as I said earlier on, mana is such an important stat on Kassadin, so you always want an extra mana item. The mythic item alone is not enough, because you're gonna run really fast in those fights. And not only because of that, also because, as I said earlier on, your ultimate damage also scales off of your mana. So the more mana you have, the more damage your ultimate is going to deal. So that's also another important reason why you're building so much mana on Kassadin. Now, when you have the lead in the mid lane, guys, and you don't have anything else to do, just roam. Like, just look for roams in the bot lane, especially if you have a support like the Nautilus, Leona, Thresh and so on, because they can easily set you up for ganks. Just look for those roams even if it's in the early game, because with Electrocute, you're gonna have a lot of damage still, so you do have some burst damage. So I waited a bit here going in, and that was of course a mistake. I did that because I wanted to secure the kill for myself. That's how you want to play Kassadin, is that you want everything for yourself. Because this is a champ that's gonna 1v9 almost guaranteed when he hits level 16, right? So it is a champ that your entire team wants to snowball. That's why you have to take everything for yourself when you have the opportunity to do so. Because that allows you to snowball faster and scale up faster as well. So we had like no way out of here, that's also fine, and now we're gonna get the Archangels. We just want this item to be fully stacked, and then you can also get the boots. They're not that important to get early on. You want to make sure that you have at least tier 1 boots, and then you can finish those after the 2 items or even after the mythic item, depending on when you feel like you need it. But the fun part starts when we hit level 11. We have the Archangels fully stacked and transformed. That's why our damage just goes through the roof. It's absolutely insane. Farming is like a key thing on every single champion, but it's even more important on those late game scaling champs like Kassadin. Because most of the time you're going to be against a bad matchup in the mid lane. And it's not all the time that you'll be able to get a lot of kills in the early game either. So that's why it's really important that you focus on farming. You don't want to help people if they like go for fights early game. If your jungler tries to contest the skull crab in the early game, you cannot help them because your only goal is to farm up. And if your teammates don't respect that, then you just have to let them die. That's why if you see me play in a lot of games, then you will see that even if my jungler is trying to contest those skull crabs, I am not helping them unless I'm 100% certain that we can get a kill out of it. Because I do not want to waste my time. I want to get as much farm as possible, get all that XP so we can scale up. You see, when you have your ultimate fully stacked, then you're going to run really fast, even when you have the mana items. But the difference is the fact that you can use that fully stacked ultimate a couple more times when you have more mana. Because if you go in with a fully stacked ultimate and you hit like multiple people, they're gonna be out of the fight almost instantly. You follow up with that ultimate, then you have your E, your W and your Q as well. That's gonna nuke every single squishy in the game. We have sock shoes because they are a squishy team, so Magic Pen is of course a very good stat against them. And it is flat Magic Pen. But you can also go for items like the Mercs. If they have a lot of magic damage and they also have a lot of CC at the same time, then you can do that. And then we also have Lucidity boots, which are my favorite boots because they're so cheap and they give you so many useful stats. So like the mid game Kassadin, you just stay in the silent. You only go to like farm up. You want to farm for as long as possible. You don't want to look for those team fights. You just want your allies to let you farm up. Because we hit level 11 right now, so that's another point into that ultimate. Putting it on a lower cooldown. And then the super mega massive power spike is the level 16. It's very rare that you get to like play level 16 Kassadin, because whenever you're fed, then people usually just FF because they know there's almost no chance of winning against a fed Kassadin. That's how obnoxious this champion can be if you know how to play him. The good thing here is that even if you're a new player, Kassadin is pretty easy to play. He doesn't really have any advanced mechanics other than the E flash, R flash and so on. That's pretty much it. The only skill stuff that comes here is surviving the laning phase. That's like the hardest part about him, because his early game is really weak, and of course even weaker if you play against those lane bullies. But this is a champ that's gonna absolutely 1v9 the game if you give him the kills. That's why even if you play jungle or something and you have a Kassadin on your team, you want to give him everything if possible so he can like scale up, because he's gonna 1v9 anyways. The next item is going to be the Sonya's Hourglass. That is a core component that you want to be getting every single game, because it gives you that extra safety. You are a melee range champ pretty much, so you're gonna be right in the center of the fights. So you want to be able to like use every single ability, and then you pop that Sonya's Hourglass so they cannot return damage onto you. And then once you come out of stasis, then your abilities are back up. So you can like re-engage or you can disengage. So this item is super important, so you want to make sure that you get this in every single game. Of course, if it extends that far. You can even get it right after your mythic item if you desperately need it. But usually I stall it until I at least have the Archangels, and then I get it. Unless you're playing against some of those AD Assassins mids, like the Kiana and such, then you can get it early on. You can see this damage. It's not balanced. I'm also insanely fed right now, but if people don't build MR against the Kassadin, they're just straight up griefing, guys. There is no counterplay to this champion if he gets ahead. That's why he has such a high ban rate in high elo. No one likes to play against him. Also another thing, if Kassadin's open, you cannot pick a mage. Because if you pick a mage, then they're just gonna counterpick with the Kassadin, and then you cannot do anything to him in the laning phase. He's just gonna scale up and then he's gonna carry the game. That's why he has such a high ban rate, and if you want that free elo, guys, then Kassadin is the champ that you should be playing. And the wave clear is of course also really good as soon as you max out that E. The reason you max it out, of course, it provides a lot of utility with that slow, and it is also AoE damage, so like you jump onto multiple people, hit all of them with E, and it's gonna totally destroy them with the ultimate and that E as well, and they're gonna be nuked. I am prioritizing staying the silence, guys. As you can see, if my teammates are going bot, then I'm just gonna go top side. Normally you want to be on the opposite side of where the main objective is, so if the dragon is up, then you want to be top side. And if only the Rift Herald or something is up, then you want to be in the bottom side. But since we do not have teleport right here, then we do have to watch out. I am still spending as much time in the silence as possible, so I can like snowball our lead, get that level 16, and close out the game. So even though Kassadin is weak early game and you have like a griefing team or something, you can still carry with this champion, because him being weak does not mean that you're not able to do anything at all. You're going to be at a disadvantage, but if you have really good map awareness and game awareness in general, then you'll be able to find those kills. Those could either be from a jungle gang or from you roaming bot or something. So make sure that you have really good map awareness. Constantly look at the map and see if you can find any kills. Because that is going to be so much more important, especially when you have like an ending team. But even if your teammates are running it down, it doesn't really matter too much anymore, because the objective bounties, when now you are behind, you're getting that extra gold from taking down objectives. That's another reason that he became even more OP right now. He was already OP last season, but now he's like god tier. The best mid laner in the game right now, probably getting nerfed soon. Who knows, but if you want that free elo, then you might as well abuse him. Next item is going to be the Rabbit on Stealth Cap. That's a big power spike. That's like the biggest power spike for those AP champions, because it gives you so much AP, guys. When you have that, you're just gonna one-shot everything. And it's also pretty difficult to shot Kassadin down, because there's almost no cooldown on his ultimate. Looks like he has flash on a really low cooldown. And since you can use that to blink over walls with, it's very hard to shot him down. Spend time in the side lanes. When you go for team fights and such, you want to be flanking. You don't go from the front unless you can like one-shot somebody. You just flank. You play him like an assassin. He's an anti-mage, but his playstyle is like an assassin, where you flank people, get behind them, look for the squishy targets, and then you just one-shot them. That's of course going to be even easier if you stack up that ultimate in advance. But make sure you know exactly when to do that, because if you don't use it properly, then you're gonna run out of mana and then you will not be able to do anything for the rest of the fight. Almost level 16. That's why there will be almost no cooldown on your ultimate. They're just gonna fly around the map, teleport around the map and just kill whoever pops up. And that's pretty much Kassadin. He's really easy to play when you get to this stage of the game. The difficult part is the laning phase. You really have to learn how to stall and farm while they're trying to poke you. Just look at that burst damage. There is no counterplay, guys. Even if something goes wrong, then you can just ult out. Because there's almost no cooldown on your ultimate, and it's going to be even lower once you hit level 16. So this is what Kassadin is able to do when you learn playing him. I can highly recommend picking him up, because that is definitely going to give you free elo. But this was how to play Kassadin. Of course, I hope this was helpful, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next one.